Good morning, gentlemen. Today, I would like to discuss an important topic, emotions and the type of emotion. If you go for any interview, anywhere, emotions plays an important role. Not only in interview, even our day-to-day interaction that we do with our family and with the society, emotions play an important role. So it is important for all of us to understand what emotions are and how do we interact with them. Okay, so the first thing that we will be talking about is what is emotion by itself. As you can see, emotions are a process, a particular kind of automatic appraisal influenced by our evolutionary and personal past, in which we sense that something important to our welfare is occurring, and a set of psychological changes and emotional behavior begins to deal with the situation. This is what famous psychologist Paul Ekman had said that. What does it really mean? It means we have learned a way of dealing with the system to express our views. May be right, may not be right. Another way of talking about these emotions are complex psychological states involving three distinct components called subjective experience, physiological responses, and behavior or expressive responses. Okay. It was Paul Ekman in 1972 who suggested that there are six basic emotions, like we have got three primary colors, and all colors are combination of these primary colors in various ratios. Similarly, he said that there are six primary emotions, and all emotions that we show as an individual are basically combination in some percentage and some proportion of all these six emotions only. It was Plotchik in 1980 who introduced another emotion classification known like a wheel of emotion. He came out that there are eight types of emotion. That is what he really come back. Eight primary emotions, and they had a group of four: joy versus sadness, anger versus fear, trust versus disgust, and surprise versus anticipation. And all this he put in a circular form, and all opposite joy and sadness were opposite to each other, which you will see in later on. Again, in 1999, Ekman himself expanded his list from six that he had said to include embarrassment, excitement, contempt, shame, pride, satisfaction, and amusement. But we still regard those six emotions, which he had said earlier, as main thing. You can see here only. This is one of those, again, it has come back from Ekman only. Anger, contempt, you are putting your lips on one side. Disgust, you don't like it. Enjoyment, happiness. And what is it? You are fearful. Sadness, surprise. So they how our expression, the emotions are shown, whether you may talk or may not talk. You may open your mouth or may not open your mouth. But your facial expressions are seen by others, and this is what is being viewed by others, and accordingly, your interpersonal relations are going to be affected to that extent. Okay. As we said, there are three elements of emotion, because subjective experience, what you have experienced, what has forced you, that you can say it is learning. And based upon that, what has been your physiological response, as you said, putting your lips up, staring at it, something like that, and the behavior response. There are the three elements of that. First is subjective experience. Now, consider, say, anger itself. Is all anger same? No. Our experience might range from mild annoyance to blinding rage. You may like hit a person if you are so angered. At least one may experience anger differently than someone else. Level of anger or the intensity of anger will vary for the same instance from you to other person. So we have broad levels of emotions such as angry, sad, happy. We already talked about it. And it is our own experience of these emotions which may be much more multidimensional. Means what? You cannot afford to be, react in the same fashion. There's so many factors come into play in expression of our own emotions. So that's why we call it subjective. It cannot be quantified that if someone shows you eyes and you will react only to this extent. Okay. We also don't always experience a pure forms of each emotions. It is all, we have already said, it's a mixture of all these. Okay. Mixed emotion, different, it will vary upon the situation. I keep on giving example. If you are a student and you walked into principal's office for something which has gone right or wrong, you may not agree with what he's saying. But situation demands if you try and counter him or express your emotion in a different fashion, probably you may be hurt. So your response, in spite of the fact that you feel it, it will be different. It will be different. So it is a mixture. It is a situation which demands and which dictates the type of emotion that you are going to show. But the experience after that, it's physiological response. You must have found out before your examination, we all get anxious. No? It's common. Sachin Tendulkar says, in spite of the fact he made thousands of runs, and every time when he walks across for batting, he still there's something happening in his stomach. That is that he still there's certain amount of anxiety always takes it on. So you may many times must have felt heart beating, anxiety. So many things are happening around there. Many of these physical responses are regulated by what we call sympathetic nerve system, which is a branch of what autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system controls involuntary body response like blood flow and anxiety. It is not on your own, it happens based upon the experience, based upon earlier reaction that you had, and after effect of those reactions, it automatically takes its own course. So sympathetic nervous system is charged with controlling the body's flight or flight reaction. This we have learned since our inception as a human. If we're strong, we would like to fight it. If we're weak, probably we would like to run away. We want to avoid damage or danger to us. So earlier physiology of emotion tended to focus on what we call autonomic responses that we already talked about it. But now focus on brain's role in emotions. And in brain, amygdala is a part of limbic brain, which plays an important role in emotion and fear in particular. Amygdala is a tiny almond-shaped structure that has been linked to motivation states such as hunger, thirst, behavior, and emotions. And it becomes activated when people are shown threatening images. Especially you must have seen in SSB, we show different type of photographs to elicit your response if you have faced that situation earlier. And based upon that photograph that we show in SSB, it takes you to unconscious mind where you may have faced a situation, and the reaction that you have had at that time, maybe in some form or other, will be put across in this situation also. Thirdly, the behavior response. We are familiar with the actual expression of emotions, and we have been investing a lot of time interpreting what those expressions are or were. Our ability to accurately understand these expressions is tied to what we call as emotional intelligence. It's a field by itself, which we will talk later on. Goleman is supposed to have made a extensive contribution. He said there are 4 types of emotional intelligence. There's a self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, social management. And based upon the response that we get, it is shown in the form of body language. Body language. Again, we have got depending upon our society, Western culture tends to promote high arousal emotion, fear, excitement, distress. We like to enjoy it. That is the side type of Western culture, where Eastern culture is basically focused on calmness, serenity, peace. Okay. But in spite of all that, two, three, or few of the emotions are universal. If you may go from one part of the world to another part, say smile is common to everywhere. Frown, if you want to frown, but the expression that comes on your face would be the same. Then let's talk about what are some theories of emotion. First theory they call Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory. And that evolutionary theory talks about it, says that emotions are adaptive. Emotions are adaptive to our environment and improve our chance of survival. As he says, we have to adapt to the environment that's available. And I gave an example when you walk across to principal office, your reaction or emotion would be controlled by the situation that is there. So love, fear are adaptive because they promote mating, reproduction, keeps us safe from predators. Then came James Lang theory. He says our physical responses are responsible for emotions. He said physical responses are responsible for emotion. He said response, then emotion. If someone says sneaks behind you, you have got no idea, and he shouts at you. Why do we get fearful? That is so first and foremost the physical response, and then emotion. So when someone shouts at him from unknowingly, then we get scared. That's all. Then facial feedback theory. Elaborate on the James Lang theory suggests that the facial movement influences our emotion. If you force a smile, you will feel happier. In spite of the fact you may not be happy, but you force a smile on your face, probably your reaction will be slightly different. Then Cannon-Bar theory refutes that James Lang theory, asserting that the people experience emotional and physiological response at the same time, each response acting independently. Refutes. It doesn't happen simultaneously. Feeling fear on seeing a deadly snake while your body prepares to run. So there are the two things. First, you have to feel, then only you respond. So the feeling fear on seeing, you look at a snake, and then your body tell you, okay, bhag jawai. Then called Satter-Sinker theory. It says a cognitive theory of emotion suggesting our thoughts are actually responsible for emotion. Similar to this cognitive appraisal theory, uh, it poses that someone must first think before experience an emotion. So thought first, then expression of or experience emotion. Brain judges situation as threatening, and as a result, you experience the fear. So it means first you have to thought process controls your fear. If not, you're not fearful. Look at a soldier. He looking at the enemy. Can he run away? Probably not. Okay. Then comes famous, they call it emotional atlas. This has been done by, again, Ekman in consultation with Dalai Lama. With Dalai Lama's vision in mind, Dr. Paul Ekman published what called the Atlas of Emotion, a comprehensive illustration of states of emotion and how they relate to each other. In this, earlier he said, he said he was the person who gave there six type of emotions, six primary emotions. Then he added few of them. In this atlas, both of them, that is Dalai Lama as well as Paul Ekman, they agree there are five types of primary emotions. They are anger, fear, sadness, disgust, and enjoyment. Each of these emotions have their own map, and each of its special character, that is several states. So anger itself has many states, and each emotion state has action. But depending upon the type of emotion and the state in which you are in, your action will be determined, which results from experience, and this action depends upon your own experience. Say, for example, emotion. Emotion is a large number of potential action. It may be with them. So discussed, on the other hand, I have got very few actions involved. Each emotion is caused by a trigger. As I said, if you have not seen a snake, probably you won't have experienced emotion of fear. So there ought to be a certain amount of trigger, which is an involuntary reaction to an event or a thought. Each emotion is associated with a particular mood, which causes events or thoughts to be more easily associated with that emotions. Okay. Now, this is what he says as far as the both Dr. Ekman and they say they call the 5 emotion as they call continents, and they have beautiful. They said each continent has got certain states. Then you will take certain actions. Then also it triggers action. Then it goes mood, and the ultimate aim of any individual is to come to calm state of calmness. No, as we say, we must come back to a state of equilibrium in science. Similarly, ultimate aim of any individual to come to the state of calmness. Now, Paul Ekman 6 originally he had said happiness. People strive for happiness being pleasant, accompanied by a sense of well-being and satisfaction. Happiness is often expressed by smiling or speaking in an upbeat tone. Sadness, someone expresses his emotion by crying, being quiet, or withdrawing from the society. Types of sadness include grief, hopelessness, disappointment. Fear can increase our heart rate, cause racing thoughts, trigger the fight or flight response. So depend upon that is what the fear comes from. Similarly, disgust can be triggered by physical experience such as seeing or smelling a rotten food, blood, poor hygiene. That is disgust. Anger can be expressed with facial expression like frowning, yelling, violent behavior. All depend upon the situation and how strong or weak your enemy is there in front of you. Surprise can be pleasant or unpleasant. Okay. So the another way of expressing the type emotion are they call primary emotion and secondary emotion. As we have talked, that primary emotions are just like a primary colors, 3 basic colors, which gives a various different colors. Similarly, primary emotions are the emotions that humans experience universally. There are different theories as to what these expressing emotions are, but they often include happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, and surprise. And this emotions see across the world. Secondary emotions stem from and are variation of primary emotion. Sometimes we have secondary emotion in response to our primary emotions. I am frustrated, that I am so sad. So this is how the type of emotion comes back. Then came back the famous, what we call it, Plutchik's wheel of emotion. You can see here, they have got 8 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals are there. And they are coming from a circle. Inner circle is ecstasy, admiration, terror, amazement, sadness, and then loathing and rage. And this because of, but from there, the second one. So you see the color is deepest here. Then as you go away on this particular petal, its intensity goes down or the color goes down. It means what? This is the strongest emotion. Then comes trust, admiration, then trust, acceptance. This is what goes into system. Secondly, you can see joy is opposite sadness. Anticipation is against surprise. Anger is against fear. Disgust is against trust. So all these are 180-degree opposite to each other. And then as you go across here, this intensity. So from vigilance, it has come anticipation, then go interest, and you go about it. Secondly, how this works? If you have got anticipation and joy, both of them combined together, it gives you optimism. If you got joy and trust put together, they give you love. That is the next emotion will come back. Then trust and fear will give you submission. Then fear and surprise will go off. And surprise and sadness will give disapproval. And sadness plus disgust, remorse, and disgust plus anger gives contempt. So what you're finding, basically, there are eight primary emotions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And as you go away from the center, they all intensity of those emotions are coming down. 8, sadness. So he says sadness versus joy, anger versus fear, expectation versus surprise, acceptance versus disgust. The core emotion appears in the second circle, and the intensity of the color of each represents the intensity of the emotion that we already talked about it. And emotion in the outer layer are soft color and milder, where the ones in the center of the wheels are darker and more intense. And we already talked about joy ranges from serenity to ecstasy. Each emotions can be expressed at different intensity. So the trust ranges from acceptance to admiration. Fear ranges from timidity to terror. So there is all depending upon the intensity, this particular thing will keep on moving. So that we say, we already talked about it. Joy plus trust gives love. Trust plus fear gives submission. Fear plus surprise gives us awe. Surprise plus sadness gives us disapproval. And sadness plus disgust, remorse. Trust plus anger gives contempt. Antagonism plus anger gives aggression, aggressiveness. Serenity plus integrity, optimism. Okay. Now, then we have another wheel of emotion. They call it Geneva wheels of emotion. Mind you, these wheel of emotion are being utilized in robotics now. Now, with the AI coming into play, though they are machines, we want to feed them with the emotions as well. So these particular wheels are being utilized to give the emotion to the robot itself. It says it has pleasant, high control, unpleasant. So it has divided into 4 quarters. This is what it really come back, 4 quarters. There's high control, low control, pleasant, and unpleasant. You look at it here. It is here. Pride, elation, joy, satisfaction, relief, hope, interest, and surprise. On the right-hand side, the complete emotions which are there, they are pleasant or unpleasant. Okay. Now, this is what is there. So what is happening around there? This had divided whole thing into 4 parts. They got satisfied, your pride person, elation, joy, satisfaction. So this is what is the satisfaction level. So a 4 quadrant, all sign time cost that we talked about it, that is what is there, all 4 quadrant. Okay. So this side is present side, this side is unpleasant side. And so if being unpleasant, this is by mistake had made it unpleasant here. It should be dissatisfied because anger, contempt, disgust, envy, you are dissatisfied. You have got a guilt feeling, shame, fear, and sadness. It means you are unenthusiastic. So the total, this is what, and this wheel has since been, you can see, as you go away from here, the intensity from lower to higher is increasing. This is what as you go the circle radius is increasing as you go from here. Okay. So now I can say interest, amusement, pride, joy, pleasure, contempt, love, administration, relief, and compassion. So this becomes the pleasant side. This becomes unpleasant, anger, hate, contempt, disgust in unpleasant side. And based upon this, slowly and surely, emotions are being built up in the. They are utilized. A lot of algorithms have gone into play, and many things are already. Then called Junto's Wheel of Emotion. Junto Wheels created as far as profit tool by Junto's Institute. It consists of 3 inner circles and has a simple layout that is easy to use and understand. Basic emotions are located in central: love, fear, anger, sadness, surprise, and joy. What is Junto Wheel? This is what is it. And this is one of those you can say all type feeling and emotion you can find it around here. So these are basically 3, 6. 6 are the basic emotions, and you go away from it. Then joy can have various shades: enthralled, elated, enthusiastic, optimistic, proud, cheerful, happy, and content. Now you got so basic states of joy can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9. And then each of them have again subdivided into rapturous, enchanted, jubilant, euphoric. So now we can say, so from joy, let's take enthralled, it has got a rapturous and enchanted. So this is the level, this is the, if you want to go exact feeling that is being taken place. That is what is happening. Okay. Then comes emotion, feeling, and moods. We tend to use the terms emotion, feeling, and moods interchangeably, which is not the case. But they mean different. Emotions are reactions to a stimuli. That's why SSV gives, in TAT, they give you photographs on which you are expected to write a story. They show you a word and they give you such a situation. So they are the stimuli. And how to react, what are emotions that you show, that is what is being checked there. Feelings are what we experience as a result of these emotions. Suppose you have been scared or you have seen something scary, then what is the result? That is the emotion, that is the feeling. Emotion is normally quite short-lived but intense. Temporarily you get anger, and as you can't remain angry for throughout. You must come down because you get tired. Emotions are also likely to have a definite and identifiable cause. There has to be reason for being having the emotions. Feelings are influenced by our perception of the situation. So now, when you go look at it, as I said again, in TAT, a photograph is shown to you that shows your emotions, and depending on your perception, you are going to write a story. So it is the feeling, it comes because of your own perception. Same emotion can trigger different feeling in people experience. For example, disagreeing with your friend. Now this is the situation, you have disagreed. Now one can be, both might walk away. For conversation, having experienced the emotion anger. Second situation can be, anger might feel like frustration because you feel your friend never listens to you and when you speak to him. The third, friend's anger might feel like jealousy because he feels that you know more than what he knows. Both of you have the same emotion, but feelings are different based on separate interpretation and the perception that you have got about the situation that has been created. Now, what is the mood? Mood can be described as a temporary emotional state. Mood is temporary emotional state. Sometimes moods are caused by clear reasons. You might feel everything is going your way this week, so you are in a happy mood. But in many cases, it may be difficult to identify the specific cause of a mood, whereas emotion has to have a cause. And feeling is because of the emotion, your perception, which adds on to that. So this is what we have wanted to talk about as far as the emotion and emotion state is concerned. We will come back with next series, next video. I call it trigger. We'll talk about trigger, which is going to be very useful, not for only SSV, for all walk of life. Thank you, gentlemen. Please do, I do recommend, please subscribe to my channel. It will be useful to you. Many such videos are going to be out. Thank you. Thanks again.